Hey guys, some gamer dude here. So Mordred was shown off this week, and he's quite different to the Blaster Dragons we've had lately, in that he's not retired themed, he's Blaster Dark themed. And honestly, a lot of the older support for Shadow Paladin is kind of going to go to the wayside because the deck's so radically different in many ways. It's not consuming its regards to fuel things, it's just going, Blaster Dark, he's our man. It's kind of rallying around him. We're going, we can't win without you, buddy. It's like, why isn't this a Legion deck the way it's carrying on? Anyway, we'll start with refreshing our memory on Blaster Dark because he's been out for quite some time now, and you might have also forgotten him because I think by the end of the whole Gust Blaster Dragon deal, no one was even using Blaster Dark in their Shadow Paladin decks. It became that not good, and there were better cards to run. So he's got two effects: automatic Vanguard Rearguard when placed counterblast one, your opponent chooses one of their rearguards and kills it, and act Vanguard Circle once per turn. If your opponent has no rearguards, discard a card from your hand and it gets Twin Drive. So it's Drive +1, but let's be honest, it's Twin Drive because it's only getting one extra drive check. It's decidedly mediocre, to be honest. You don't get to choose who you kill. Your opponent gets choice, so they're going to choose the one that is the least issue for them to get rid of. They're still going down a card, but it's really so what? Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing here. It's like, I took you down a card, but it's nothing really impactful because you get to choose it. But to be quite frank, the deck's probably just going to go +1, -1, +1, -1, all these big things, etc., etc. And honestly, the mediocreness of Blaster Dark is kind of made up for in Mordred in a few ways. So before we get to Mordred, let's talk about the Masquerade cards because they're direct support for these two cards. So we start with Transient Revenger Masquerade, grade 1 who looks fantastic compared to the original. You can actually make him out. I don't remember the original having the most easy to tell what it is art because it's got a lot of blacks and effects. This one, the suit's really clear. You can see everything. He looks cool. His standard stats, grade 1, and or act, Rearguard, circle counterblast 1 and put it into your soul to call a Blaster Dark from your drop zone to Rearguard. And it gains +5,000 to end of turn. And continuous Rearguard Circle in a battle of boosted, it gains +3,000. So it retains the +3,000 of the original, though the original was when it was attacking. And you can also kill it to, get Blaster Dark. The deck doesn't actually want to re-ride all that much, if at all, to be honest. So getting Blaster Dark from the the discard pile, and bringing it out because it's probably going to get killed a lot, is actually worth it. And you can actually manage to run more grade 1s in here due to how the deck functions as a whole. It's worth running the grade 1s, so losing him isn't that big of an issue. So he's actually really quality support. Counterblast 1 in it to chain into a card that's Counterblast 1. Let's be honest, with the way the rest of the deck functions, you probably aren't counterblasting 1 for Blaster Dark's effect anyway. It's just not that good. So let's go over to Nullity Revenger Masquerade, who has the really hard to tell what it is art this time. I think this actually might be Masquerade's second card this generation too, because I'm pretty sure he returned in the Phantom Blaster Dragon set. He has the standard stats for Force Grade 2 and 2 effects. Automatic, Rearguard, and Vanguard. When placed, look at the top 7 cards from Mordred or Blaster Dark, put it into your hand, and if you put it into your hand, retire one of your Rearguards. This is the only retire your own effect I can see among the cards. So that's not net zero kinda thing, but you get to choose what you kill. You might be able to do other things with it. And we'll see how that goes. But again, you probably want to use more grade 1s. It's getting you one of the 2 key pieces you really bloody want. So it can be excused for being a net 0 even on the Vanguard. The second effect is continuous when it attacks a Vanguard against plus 3000 no matter where it is, so it's a strict upgrade over its original version. There's not much to say about Masquerade, it's consistency right there. It's really cool. I wish Maelstrom had one. It's just a lot to like. It's a good card for what it's doing. And again, the -1 to search, so it becomes a net 0, really isn't that big of a deal. Really. You're getting a key piece over, honestly, some basic crap, probably. But just be warned, you might have to call multiple Reguard out first turn to, get this going with that, if you have to ride it. Because if your opponent nukes the one grade 1 you had out, you better pray you have another grade 2. Likewise, you probably want Soul Blast in this deck in some capacity to get Blaster Dark out if you have to ride it. Finally, I want to talk about a promo before we get up to Mordred. Impetuous Knight 30ad, who is a standard stats grade 2, but when your Blaster Dark is placed during your turn and he's on Reguard, he gains plus 5000 till end of turn. It's not great, it's not really anything, but it's a thing that exists and directly works with Blaster Dark. So if you consider this worthwhile for the deck, or there's really nothing better to run, go find those promos. So let's just get on to Illusionary Revenger, Mordred Phantom, and let's have fun. These are standard stats, Force Grade 3, with 2 effects. Automatic Vanguard Circle, when Blaster Dark is placed on your Reguard, you get an imaginary gift, Force. Yeah, so Blaster Darks all have gifts now, compared to Blaster Blade, which all have Twin Drive now. The Horsies give them strength. Second effect is automatic Vanguard Circle. When it attacks, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, counterblast 1. So there's your counterblast. Stand up all your Blaster Dark, and they get plus 10,000 till end of turn. So your other 2 in the front stand up because you're probably going to be trying to manage those 2 Blaster Darks out, and they swing again with whatever the boost probably would have been. So they're base 20,000, 30,000 if you go for Force 1, 20,000 if you go with Force 2. I'm kind of leaning towards Force 2 on this, to be really honest. Force 2 in this, just the continuous threat of critical, critical, critical. You have a multitude of attacks. You'd rather them have threat than power. You're probably running, honestly, 12 crits at this point anyway. I honestly kind of would if you run a fair few +1 cards in this. And counterblast 1 per turn is not much at all. You can afford to run, say, Blaster Dagger, I think it is, or Blaster Javelin. The one that, if you have another grade 1 out when you call it, you counterblast 1 against plus 3000, I think it is, and you draw a card. Good card, Mordred Phantom. Gazot's an awkward card in that, yes, it's more power and it's more cards, but what else is it doing? It's not really putting your opponent in a situation where it's much more than perfect guard or take it. It's not actually taking cards away from your opponent. This is more attacks, so it's threat, 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 threat. It's more overall. And as I said, you use the Force 2, they got threat to kill. That's cool. I don't know if you want Force 2 with a Vanguard that's probably only swinging in around 21,000. It's not that much to stop it, but considering every row is going to have the +2, it adds up very quickly. Just the damage, and you're restanding the Reguards. So, yeah, we might have actually found the second deck that actually likes Force 2, the first being Spike Brothers. But I'm not sure. I'd have to feel it out, to be honest. I'd have to see it in person before I make a judgment of this is the better version of the 2 decks. There might be some matchup thing. I will also note, like Lukia, who we discussed last time, having a really odd matchup against Narukami. Gauntlet Buster eats this for breakfast. It can fully get rid of your opponent's Blaster Darks. It does the same thing to Gancelot, and your opponent's just left there. Well, you're just left there, I should say, going, well, I can't do anything. I'm just sitting here, twiddling my thumbs, because you got rid of all my Blaster Darks. They're not even in the discard, so I can't use Masquerade 1. So, I don't know, you might want to run a backup grade 3 that actually does something. Maybe this is where you want the Force 1 versus the Narukami matchup, and maybe Link Joker, because Link Joker can bind things as well, so they don't go to the discard. As I said, the Force thing might be matchup based. You may need another grade 3 to run in conjunction with Mordred here, going to Blaster Dark later on. I don't know. Uh, Again, Narukami's kind of oppressive in this respect. I kind of wish they left it to um, just straight up kill the. If they're going to start interacting with the discard pile in this manner and specific units and bringing them back, uh, honestly, binding is becoming as oppressive as a lock in a certain way, because you're basically telling your opponent, if you don't go for this massive burst turn over playing naturally, you can't do anything. It's the same thing as lock. It really is. But at least you can actually play around it. Again, run a different grade 3. I still like the Dark Dictator. I know he's not the most popular card in the world, but I like him. Yeah, there's probably a grade 3 in Shadow Paladin that's worth running a little bit of and spicing through the deck with all the spaces you don't really need to shift gears between this and itself versus Narukami. But anyway, I like where this Shadow Paladin deck is going. It reminds me of the original Revenger deck a little bit, but feels a lot more focused on Blaster Dark somehow. I'm not sure how they managed that, but because the original had the whole Dorant Claudus, I think it was, deal going at they came back to, but they're connected to each other, not Blaster Dark, which is odd. Anyway, uh, yeah, I like this Shadow Paladin. The Narukami matchup kind of screws it over, so I don't know how well it'll do, because Narukami is very popular at the moment as well. Gauntlet Buster became BDIF along with I'm not even sure if uh, Bermuda's really all that strong right now. Anyway, I think Narukami just kind of took it over with Gauntlet Buster, but I like it for fun and whatnot. Anyway, this has been some Gamer Dude. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.